subtle and profound, supreme and wondrous Dharma rarely is encountered, even in a billion eons. But now I see it, hear it, and accept it reverently. I vow to truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Oops. Let's try this again. Here we go. Venerable 师父上人，各位师兄大家阿弥陀佛. Venerable Master, Dharma friends, welcome. This is August the 9th. We're here in Gold Coast, Queensland, and simultaneously in Berkeley, California, to investigate the Buddha's wisdom. And through the marvels of technology, we've been able to connect with you through the internet. And I can see everybody. I can see, gee, Heng Sure, your robe, that monk's robe's color really has a function. It's kind of fluorescent orange, and you're very easy to spot. Welcome to everybody. And we've got here in Gold Coast, we have Heng Sure is here, and Jin Fang Sure is here, Florence is here, and Sam, folks who want to look into the Avatamsaka Sutra. Now, this is our second attempt to do the lecture long distance, where the main lecturer is remote and other folks are, at home, on home base, listening at the mothership, listening to the Dharma. So I got really good feedback last time. For example, I heard from one of our Dharma friends. He said, tell you the truth, and this is going to be painfully honest, he said, your deportment really didn't have Dharma lecture deportment. He said, I felt like we had a video chat going. And then he took snapshots of the screen from Berkeley, and I was like scratching my head and leaning into the mic, and and it's like, oh, that's right. And we figured out that what was going on was that the actual physical setup was not conducive to a formal lecture. The camera was really close to me, and so I was looking the way you do when you're doing FaceTime or Skype or a video chat. So we made some adjustments, and the ideal situation, according to research, is that you adjust it until you feel like you're having a conversation. So if you all feel like you're having a conversation with me, then we've done it. We've made it work. So in order to have that real, I have to give you plenty of time to talk. It can't be just my monologue towards you. It has to be towards you and back to me. So we have Sherpa's picture here, which also lends a special light and a blessing to our lecture. And we've got lots of high-tech gadgetry here, including a video camera. We have a conferencing microphone. I have a second monitor where I'm going to put the text, I hope, if it works. And another bit of feedback we got last time was that the instruments sounded terrible. The musical instruments didn't come across the microphone in a way that people could enjoy. It was distorted. So we're aware that the microphone is geared to the human voice, and the instruments go lower and higher. So we're going to play sparingly and then upgrade the quality of our microphone for the next time around. All right, how does that sound? Is it working, Heng Sure? Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. Well done. Yeah, can do. Sam has a question.
The sound from them still not clear.
Yeah, your sound coming my way is distorted. I don't know why. On, yeah, yeah, I believe so. I believe so. It's probably coming from the camera. It has that sound of an echo and distortion to begin with. So it's a small problem, though. This is miraculous, and we're so used to instant broadband solutions that to even have this connection at all is quite marvelous. 100% better. 100% better. Yeah. 好多了. Okay. Good. So we solved that one. Yep. Good. Okay. So this is the Avatamsaka Dharma Assembly, and what I would like to do would be I'm going to put my palms together and I'm going to chant Namo Dafang Guangfo Huayan Jing Huayan Hai Hui Fo Pu Sa. And let's see if we can, I want to get it up on screen too. Now, one way to solve the problem is to only use one screen. So it looks like this. Yes, it does. Here's how we do that. There we go. Unfortunately, no, it's not. Hold on. I think I've outsmarted myself with my software here. Hold on. Ah, yes. How is that? Can you see it? Uh-huh. Can you see the text? Homage to the Buddha's Flower Garland Sutra. Not. Okay. Let's see here. How do we do that? Maybe if I drag it over.
Yeah.
Okay. Exit full screen. Here we go. Put it over there. Make it bigger. And screen 2. Okay. How about that? Okay. Okay. How about this? For a lag. It takes that long to get from Australia to Berkeley. Huh? Okay. How about this now? Is this working? We get to slow down, huh? That's good. How was the sutra lecture? Well, it was very peaceful, actually. We had to wait a lot. It was good. I felt very calm waiting for the screen to appear. Have you got that? Uh-huh. Okay, good. Good. Only Ali. Good. We're closing in. I'm learning. I'm controlling it. Now when this refreshes, you should see the title again. There we go. Okay, palms together, please. And we'll recite the Chinese down below. Here we go. Namo Tafang Guangfu Huayan Ji Huayan Hai Hui Fo Pu Sa Namo Tafang Guangfu Huayan Ji Huayan Hai Hui Fo Pu Sa Namo 会佛菩萨，南无大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨，南无大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨，南无大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨，南无大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨。Very good. And let's see now, we're going to scroll upwards here till we get to page 22 and 23. Whoops, that's not what we want. Come back here. And page 18, page 22 and 23, right there. Okay. 你们三位要忍耐，你们看不到了啊。哎呀。Okay. Making it bigger here. And there's my control bar. Right there. A little smaller. Okay. Okay, you all in a minute should be able to see the text. 佛子此菩萨摩诃萨. Tell me when that comes into view. Got it? Great. Okay. So could we put our palms together, please? And I'll give you a line and you give it back to me. Here we go. 佛子此菩萨摩诃萨. 大悲转增，精勤修习，为满菩提分法，令圆满故，作是念。一切有为，有和自转，无和自不转，缘即自转，缘不即自不转。我如是知。有为法，多诸过患，当断此和因缘，然为成就众生故，亦不逼近灭欲诸行。Okay, I don't know how much of that you all got, but we'll find out because we're going to go over to the English right here. All right, can you all see that text? How is that? Good, okay. Let's see here. Let's do it the same way. I'll give you a line and you give it back to me. I think if we try to do it in unison because of the lag, it's going to not sound good. Here we go. Disciples of the Buddha. This Bodhisattva Mahasattva's great compassion develops and increases. He diligently practices in order to perfect the Bodhi share dharmas, which have not yet been perfected. He makes the following reflection. All that is conditioned evolves through combinations. Without combinations, there would be no evolution. It evolves through the assembling of conditions. If conditions did not assemble, then it would not evolve. Since I know in this way that all conditioned dharmas have many faults and disasters, I should sever that combining of causes and conditions. Nonetheless, in order to bring sentient beings to accomplishment, I also will not utterly put a stop to all activities. Okay, we did good. All right. Now, I'm going to do something here so that we can see both me and I can see you and also the screen. So what I would like to hear from Heng Sure that I have successfully transferred the text over to a font size that you all can read. Great. Awesome. All right. Okay. So, my goodness, we just read the Avatamsaka Sutra together in Chinese and English. And what are we going to get out of this? I haven't explained the 6 ground chapters for quite a while. And I'll try to catch everybody up, and then we're going to go forward. This is a text about the Bodhisattva's insight into reality and how things work. As we have approached this 6th ground here, we used to say that the Bodhisattva is kind of lifting the hood on the engine of the universe. You know that when you go in to get your car serviced, the mechanic has to lift the hood. That's assuming your engine's in the front. If you have a 1959 Volkswagen, the engine's in the back. So the mechanic lifts the hood, the trunk, what we would call a trunk. In Australia, it's not the hood of the car, it's called the bonnet. The bonnet, yeah, that's right. And in the back, it's called what? The boot. Yeah, so it's the hood and the trunk in America. So the mechanic lifts it, and then he can get in with his diagnostic tools and can fix the car, get it tuned up, get it balanced, and it runs efficiently and cleanly. So that's where the engine is. The Bodhisattva, by analogy, kind of lifts the hood, lifts the bonnet on the engine of the universe and says, oh, look, it's out of balance. This is what's going on. And what is he telling us? He's telling us of what are called the 12 links. The 12 links of conditioned arising is what the entire chapter is about. That's what the Buddha, in the mouth of the Bodhisattva, has been telling us, is how the universe is made, how it works. So that's interesting. That's interesting. And some people are not mechanical at all. Like a lot of us, when we drive our car, we only want steering wheel, the key, the ignition, the accelerator, and the brake. Sometimes the turn signal, sometimes the windshield wipers. That's it, right? That's all we care about. The mechanic does the rest. Some people run our lives the same way, which is to say, we just want it to go. And if we get sick, we go to the doctor. If we get hungry, we go to the kitchen, the refrigerator. That's how we live. We just not much interaction in the mechanics of it, how it's actually working. Only one: steering wheel, the key, the ignition, the accelerator, and the brake. Sometimes the turn signal, sometimes the windshield wipers. That's it, right? That's all we care about. The mechanic does the rest. Some people run our lives the same way, which is to say, we just automatic. And if we get sick, we go to the doctor. If we get hungry, we go to There's something about that voice, though. I really like it. That's very clear and like this, it's like, wow, 我听得懂. Oh, okay, so I'm back. Do we know why that happened? I see. So mute his mic. Okay, there we go. This is great. That's called a gremlin. We have a gremlin in the system. Good. Okay, so some people don't care about the mechanics. Other people are like, whoa, do you mean I can actually put my hands on the controls of my life? So reflect on that, how hands-on Buddha Dharma is. It's totally hands-on. It's how it lets you get involved, gets your fingernails dirty in the grease of the workings of your life. And the Buddha, here we go, here's another brand new analogy, right? The Buddha is the ultimate mechanic. He's the great mechanic. He can fix it. He can get in there with his wrenches and spanners. Actually, he teaches us how to do it. He's the teacher of mechanics, how to fix our lives and make them run better. Isn't that interesting? I never thought of that way. So that's what we're looking at. And the sixth ground chapter of the 10 grounds gives us the mechanism from ignorance all the way to sickness, old age, suffering, death, grief, lamentation, sorrow, and despair. So from ignorance to death and suffering is what he outlines as the links. And then he shows in 10 different versions of them how it works, how one pulls the other, pulls the other, pulls the other. So we've been studying the 12 links and how they link, how they combine to pull each other along, and also how it stops, how that they can stop. Today's passage, what we just read, is another insight, right? Let's look. He says, disciples of the Buddha, wonder if my mouse, okay, good, I can actually do that. Disciples of the Buddha, we're over here in our text. This Bodhisattva, Mahasattva's great compassion develops and increases. So, in other words, the Bodhisattva, who is it? Our hero is kind of like a generic hero, very much in the Joseph Campbell hero legend model, along that model. The protagonist, the person who is hypothetically existent, and there's a reason for that, is so that we can put ourselves into that role. It could be me, it could be you, it could be anyone who aspires to do these things, right? This hypothetical bodhisattva, its great compassion develops and increases. In other words, the bodhisattva feels with us. When we suffer, the bodhisattva experiences that. When we're happy, the bodhisattva feels that. So, and yet, the way the verb is created, develops and increases, what that means is it's not over. He's still growing, or she's still growing in compassion. There's more to experience. This bodhisattva is not as compassionate as he or she will be later on. This is ground number 6. But they're more compassionate than they were last time. So that's the idea. It's an ongoing process. And we're talking about great compassion. It's so easy when we touch this material to lose sight of the context. It's not talking about great selfishness. Right? We're talking about great compassion, which is such a positive thing and which is so needed in the world. Bodhisattva's opening his heart wider and wider to let more people in who need concern. Think of it as a dad, right? Some of us reflect on our dads and there's nobody there. We kind of grew up without seeing dad at the breakfast table every day, and very few of us ever got to see our dad work. And this is a new phenomenon, right? We used to, how many generations back, dad worked where he lived. If he was any way involved with agriculture, suppose he was a blacksmith, took care of horses and plow blades and kitchen knives. And so when dad came home for lunch, he took off his work smock, which was pitted with burn holes, the fire coming off the coals as he hammered iron, right? We saw dad. We know what dad's boots smelled like because they were right beside our shoes in the entryway. You know, we grew up watching our father work. Most of us didn't have that experience, so they have what do they call it? Take your child to work day, or what was that called when you got to go to your dad's workplace or mom's workplace? Bring your family, what was it they called it? You know, family day at work or something. You get to watch it. What was it called? Who remembered? Bring a child to work day? Was that what it was called? I guess, yeah. That doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean. It was one day a year. How funny, right? The idea that you'd make a special day to go watch your dad work just 3 generations ago would have been ludicrous, right? Dad worked. It's like you lived where dad worked because that's where you all lived, depended on it. So this bodhisattva is like a dad who is always around when you need him in particular. His great compassion is growing. And so he's a big, strong softy, if you can imagine. He's both, you know, hugely strong, like dad always was, but he's also got a big soft heart. So he's strong and nurturing, both, which is quite wonderful, if you can think of it that way. That's what I like so much about the Avatamsaka, is those are the images it's giving us. It's giving us the picture of an ideal state for humans to aspire to. And often it's the bar is so high, it's kind of unrealistic. You can't aspire to it. And yet other times it just feels so close. Not abstract, not cold, not distant, not theoretical, not purely philosophical, but human and kind. So anyway, I'm commenting as I go, right? But I think that needs to be pointed out. When I hear people tell me, you know, the Avatamsaka Sutra is so philosophical, and I go, yeah, kind of the way my dad was philosophical, or the absence of my dad, my wishing for that father. It's not philosophy, that's heart. Okay, so his great compassion develops and increases. What else? He diligently practices in order to perfect the Bodhi share dharmas, which have not yet been perfected. Okay. He diligently practices in order to perfect. we are kind of taking that perfect as a transitive verb. We're taking that out of our vocabulary. To perfect something is sometimes it's okay. It's not common, and we want to use common, easily understood and clear English, not obscure or rare English. So to perfect something, what do you mean? To make something perfect. It's intransitive, the way I understood it. In order to complete something would be okay, to make something complete. It's like that. What is he making perfect? What is he bringing to perfection? The Bodhi share dharmas, which have not yet been perfected. All right. I'm going to take you back and bring you forward. Here we go. Let me type the 7 wings of awakening. The 7 of enlightenment. I'm sure this looks funny on the screen. What is he doing? Reaching for my keyboard. Okay, those are alternative names for what I want to share with everybody. These are called the Qi Puti Fen Fa in Chinese. Qi Puti Fen Fa. Okay. Should I, guess I don't have to. Okay. Now, can you see that on the screen? I hope. Yes, right? Great. Okay, we're going to look at, are you watching? There you are. That's right. You're looking at me diving into the screen.
Yeah, very dramatic.
Very dramatic, yeah. I'm just typing, I'm not doing anything. Okay, so these are called the 7 wings of awakening, the 7 limbs of enlightenment, different names for a particular Dharma method. Qi Puti Fen Fa, Qi Jue Zhi, they're called in Chinese. And this is, I want to spend a little time with it, and I put it up on the screen because this is, there it is in the sutra, for one, but 2, because a lot of the Buddha Dharma that we got from the Indian side came to us in lists of things, not 1 only, but 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, up to and including 1,200, 1,250, lots and lots of lists of things. Dr. Konza, the translator of the Prajnaparamita Sutras, said that was the Buddha Dharma back in India, was simply lists. They were called mother lists of terms, lots of lists of terms. So these are steps. Step. They're stages, progress along a road. Start here, pass through here, wind up here. That's what these lists are. And this is a prime list. This is a guys, you have to mute me in the background there. Thanks. So, okay. So we have we're receiving this broadcast here in the room, which is going to be a problem with echoes. So, okay. Now, 7 limbs of awakening are given in different order. There's not just one set of them. They are sometimes the order is different in different sutras. These occur throughout different places, different sutras. In the Pali tradition, they are called the Bodhyanga Dharmas. Bodhyanga. I think Bojangas they're called, which is a Pali way of saying Bodhyanga. So the limbs of Bodhi. Bodhi, 7 wings of awakening. Bodhi is awakening, to wake up. The Bodhi resolve, the Bodhi mind, etc. Bodhisattva, the awakened being. And these are 7 phases. You could think of them sequentially in a linear line, sequentially in a line. To get to number 3, you got to start at 1. To get to number 6, you have to go through 5, right? You could think of it that way, and 7 is the goal. But I don't think that's the way they were practiced. I think each of these steps is both path and destination. Path and fruit, they say. It's a result all by itself. And certainly, as the sutra says, he does so in order to make perfect the ones which have not yet been cultivated to perfection. Yeah, the Bodhisattva is interested in bringing all of these 7 to perfection, because why? When these 7 have been made perfect, Buddhahood is there. There's no further path to walk. And then the Bodhisattva goes and looks for another living being to bring along, to rescue, to save. Right? So these are significant dharmas. And so let's look at them in an order. Let's look at them sequentially, and then think about them as an approach to what we're cultivating. Apply them to our cultivation. So let's look at them in theory, and then look at them in practice and see what's going on. Okay, number 1 is called investigation. The Chinese is 子法. We sometimes call it selecting a dharma. In our Buddhist Text Translation Society, as Master Hua introduced these to us, we call them dharma selecting a dharma. And think of it as wisdom. So the first step is needing to apply wisdom, which is an answer to the question, what am I going to do? I want to have a different lifestyle. I want to change, right? I want to be a better person. I want to get rid of a bad habit. Or I want to be like the Buddha. I want to wake up, right? Any of those motives, reasons why somebody might come meditate. Today in meditation class, how many people did we have today, Sam?
I think 37.
37. Yeah, it was a big group. We had to move out of our earlier room into a bigger room. 4 of the people who were there came because why? They had a high school assignment, a 1,000-page paper to write up on another religious tradition. And they found us on the internet and came. So why did you come to do spiritual practice? Because I have a 1,000-word paper to write by next week, and I picked you. Right? Okay, that's a good reason. Do you want to come stay for lunch? Thank you. No, thank you. Because why? I don't know. I like vegetables. You know? I haven't eaten a vegetable. So, okay, they're very sweet kids, and their parents are very nice, and they ask really intelligent questions, I must say. So, why do we come? Why are you sitting in the Buddha Hall in Berkeley or here in chilly Queensland? Various reasons, right? Everybody probably has a different combination of reasons. So we got here. Now we have to decide, what are we going to do in our practice? We have to select something, select a dharma. Or, let's say this, we're in the middle of our practice and we want to know what's next. Choices arise and we don't know how to choose. Is that the right thing to do? Or would that be a mistake? Am I going to regret that, 4 steps down the road? Or if I keep doing this for 5-10 years, what then? We think of things like that. So that's where the first wing of awakening is choose wisely, grasshopper, right? Remember that? Anybody watch Kung Fu? Oh man, David Carradine. It's amazing. It's amazing how many people of my generation, the baby boomers, actually got interested in anything having to do with Asian spirituality through Kung Fu. Kung Fu. Kung Fu was a Western with a difference. David Carradine was this guy named Cain who wandered through the West looking kind of stupefied always, and kind of Cain's expression was always kind of like that as he looked at situations. And he also had a couple martial arts moves, but Carradine was trained as a dancer. And for the dancers love to get airborne, right? So they always raise up. And any martial artist knows you don't raise up for your first move. You drop, and you drop your weight. You lower your... So never mind. That's a martial arts critique of Kung Fu. But it was a great show. And one of the better parts was the Sifu, right? The Shifu, his martial arts teacher who was blind and who would go, choose wisely, grasshopper, he would say. So we want to investigate dharmas, choosing wisely. You want to choose wisely between alternatives, between the choices that we make. So that's the first step to awakening as you look into it. And if you are in my position, or if you're in Jin Hosher's position, or any of you who go back from the monastery to your family, your buddies, your workplace, and they know you're a meditator, right? So somehow, because you have experienced any of the internal things like stillness in your mind, you're somehow suddenly responsible for all kinds of questions, for the answers to all kinds of questions. Does that happen? Anybody get hit with all kinds of far out challenges because they know you're a meditator? That used to happen to me all the time before I left home. Anybody have to answer for everything from yoga to vegetarianism because you're a meditator? Right? Any stories about that? When you have to answer for all kinds of stuff? That sound familiar? Am I the only one? Maybe I'm the only one. Yeah, all kinds of, you become politically liberal and everything from environmentalism to gender preferences because you're a meditator. Anyway, maybe not. So you're going to have to answer 2 questions about what's going on inside. And it's hard sometimes to know. Dharma speakers, people who are actually here, on the seat where you're responsible, it's always useful to have as an answer, you check it out. Go investigate. Because why? I think that's the Buddha's answer. I mean, the Buddha could tell you the answer, of course, but if you take it from someone else, it's not your answer. It is of the nature of the Buddha's experience to go investigate, right? Go find out. That's really true. In Judaism, in Jewish mysticism, one of the invitations that come is come and taste, they say. Come and taste. Very much tongue, Jewish food. We know about Jewish food. It is delicious, yummy, and come and taste, they say, right? Meaning, once you get the flavor, you'll stick around. Once you have the experience of what is promised through Jewish mysticism, you'll definitely want more, right? So the invitation is come and taste, try some. Similar, I think, to the Buddha's exhortation to investigate. In the Chan school, what do they say? Chan. They say Chan, Chan Hua Tou. Look into it. Look into it. So instead of when you use wisdom to select among dharmas, don't think I'm going to get the answer and then I'll know exactly what's going to happen. I don't think that's what we're looking for. If we're selecting dharmas, I would bring forth Master Hua's Liu Da Zongzhi, the 6 guidelines, and what they're for. The 6 guidelines, which are 6 no's, right? No killing, no fighting, greed, seeking, selfishness, self-benefit, or dishonesty. How do you do that? You select among dharmas. You look into a situation. Is there fighting involved? Do I feel aggressive and contentious and competitive? And if the answer is yes, it's okay, but recognize what will happen if you proceed, which is what? Affliction. You won't be happy even if you win, because your mind will be in contention, split, me versus them, enemy versus friend, right versus wrong, not at peace, not one piece, not in harmony, afflicted. That'll be the result even if you, quote, win the contest. You're going to be split. And sooner or later that has to come back together. So the way those 6 guidelines work is try them out, investigate. Is there fighting? If so, you choose because you might win, but you'll be fan now. You'll have affliction. You'll have duality still. You won't be further down the path. If instead you say, nope, I'm not going to fight, I want to yield, you win, you take number 1, I'll go last or whatever number, guess what? You might have lost the contest, but you have peace of mind, no affliction. I think that's the way those work, right? Same with greed. You can go for it, you get it. Are you happy? I bit off too much, I can't chew. And I can't chew what I got too much. I'm afflicted, even though I got it, right? That's the result of those 6 guidelines. So here we are selecting dharmas, and you choose, you say, should I do it? Should I go for it? Is there fighting, contention, greed? Is there seeking? Is there selfishness, etc.? If there's yielding, generosity, contentment, selflessness, service, and sharing, and honesty, go for it. You found the right one. Go forward. It will support you. No affliction. Okay, I think that's number 1. Number two follows number 1. Number 2 is, once you selected, go with vigor. Okay, I like this virya its energy, it's called, translations. It's action, determination, it says. So go forward. So the first is zifa, the second is jingjin. Vigorously pursuing what you choose. Don't be casual. Don't be careless. Dedicated. Go for it. Work hard in your practice. That's the second limb of enlightenment, 7 wings of awakening. Second wing of awakening is, once you choose it, go forward. Really do it. Really go for it. And you will succeed because you applied yourself. Now, vigor, we translate this as vigor often, right? Jingjin. Actually, virya, I believe that's misspelled, but we won't worry about it. Okay. Vigor still needs common sense. Sometimes too much desire can turn vigor into something that breaks. Too much. So vigor has to be steady. vigor, sustainable vigor, so that this week, next month, next year, we're still going strong. Okay, then number 3, I think, is really interesting. People don't expect qi, joy or happiness, as the third Bodhi share. This one is really, really, really important for people who are committed to it, which is, if you don't enjoy it, something's wrong. If it becomes drudgery, you need more skill. If it's boring, look carefully into desire, because desire can turn wholesome dharmas into sour disappointment, right? So happiness should be a result of hard work. The Buddha Dharma that arises from our nature is a source of happiness, and not happy, show your teeth and laugh, ha 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 ha, not that kind of happy, but a deep, abiding sense of connection, invigoration, right? Your senses kind of zing when you're connected to a dharma that you're working hard with. It's rooted. It is rooted in the nature, and that's why it feels good, because it's natural. It naturally arises from the nature. So that joy is a result of the first 2, choosing the right path and walking it with vigor. There's happiness in that. So joy, and it could be some of these lists have different orders, and the joy is fa shi, the joy of Dharma. I had an experience last week. I was in Kuala Lumpur for a performance of Huang Huiyin Imi Ui's Sound of Wisdom, her musical creation with her team, and also for a gathering of Buddhist musicians from 12 different countries gathered for a conference on Buddhist music. And I had the privilege of being there. And during the performance, she had a choir of 8 men, including Cai Yu, her collaborator. And these were 8 young men from Malaysia. They weren't, Buddhist chorale musicians imported from Beijing and from Sydney. They were Malaysian young men, volunteers, all just who came because they love the Dharma and Buddhist music. And they were singing as a choir, well-trained, well-rehearsed, and on. Everybody was just singing their hearts out because it was everything was ready. They were ready. They were well-rehearsed. And I, sitting in the audience along with everyone around me, spontaneously felt this experience of our hearts expanding. It was truly fa shi chong man. And everyone I talked to said, yes, yes, yes. And we all talked about a couple moments in the 2 hours of the performance that were particularly touching, and everyone agreed. How was it that you feel that? Together in the audience, in the assembly, we all felt that simultaneously. This arising of something that was filling like food, only it was light. We used to feel it every night sitting in the Buddha Hall at Gold Mountain Monastery when Shifu spoke Dharma. That sense of something connecting with something larger, and sense of fullness and satisfaction. That's happy, right? It was happiness. And the sound, particularly the sound of the 8 men, the Bajin Gang singing, was that way. one of the parts in the performance was when Restore Bodhisattva appears to rescue ghosts in the hells. And there were two ghosts on stage who were trained in Buto, Japanese body movement and performance. And they were completely in white and very ghost-like, and just chilling to see how these two outstanding dancers could isolate their body and look like hungry ghosts. And Restore Bodhisattva comes over and touches their heads, and they walk out towards the light in procession. It's just this chilling moment of magnificent blend of music, movement, singing, and Dharma. So this, as soon as this, there was a recording prepared. It's not out yet, but as soon as it's out, we'll make sure we get a copy and share it with everybody, because it was one of those high points, and that the fashi, the bliss of Dharma, the joy of Dharma, is a real thing. It's a real phenomenon, and everyone in the audience felt it together. It's quite powerful. So that's a kind of a joy that happens when you're on the right, when you've selected the right Dharma and you're pursuing it with vigor, there's happiness that arises from that. All right, now the next one is called Qing'an, translated by BTTS as lightness and ease, which is again another physical, mental, psychophysical state. It's not only a sensation in the body, and it's not only a mind state. It's not an emotion. It's something in between. But Qing'an, this can happen in meditation. People can be sitting, and somehow body and mind fall away gently. This is not profound samadhi. Profound samadhi is coming, but this is the doorway. Qing'an, it's a sense of unity. Body and mind are together as never before. It's one, your body and mind are one thing instead of being two things, three things, 1,000 things. Qing'an, it's a meditative state, and it is indeed a gateway to Bodhi. Sometimes in the Buddhist sutras, they would talk about hearing the Buddha speak. The sound of his voice would be enough to create Qing'an in even strangers who had the luck or the fortune or the affinities to pass by where the Buddha was speaking. And you feel very, if before you meditated you were 100% in your body and 0% in your spirit, when you get close to Qing'an, you're like 80% in your spirit and 20% in your body. Somehow that's a feeling, I'm just guessing, but the Qing'an state is real, and it's a result of meditation. So how do you know when you've reached that state of Qing'an? I think Master Hua would probably say, well, as soon as you ask me, you no longer have it. by that Dharma. And then there's a Qing'an, a lightness and an ease, when body and mind become one and coarse afflictions fall away. Okay? Now, I'm going to slide up our screen here and get the next three in one screen. These three work together. They're Nian Ding She. And let me go through them. Nian is mindfulness. But that's the same, mindfulness that is the current catchword for meditation, is mindfulness. And it's a lightness and ease that carries over into all aspects of the day. So if we are single in focus, if our normal scattered random flow of thoughts is much more focused and still and calm, kind of like a radio station that's dead on, locked on to the broadcast signal, then that mindfulness informs our entire day. We're mindful walking, standing, sitting, and lying down. We don't forget. We don't randomly go into casual desire thoughts or selfishness like that. Mindfulness. And over time, what emerges from that is Ding, second, number 6 here. Ding, samadhi. Calm, concentrated, and pure. Okay. And Nian, number 5, is a step, it's a limb, a wing of what develops into Ding. And Ding is when there's been a transformation. What used to be simple consciousness is now the substance of wisdom. It doesn't, it's not dual. It's no longer duality. It's singleness. And the same way, if you think about, a diamond is compressed out of coal. Coal, the same coal that you burn in the stove, right, is the raw material of diamonds. But coal itself comes from plants, comes from hydrocarbons, plant matter, just like the weeds in the garden, the compost. And if you take plants and compress them over time with heat and pressure, coal is the result. And if you then compress the coal under heat and pressure, you can get diamonds from it. So the diamond is in the plants. And the plant and the diamond, you say the diamond is there in the plant. The diamond can be analyzed back to the hydrocarbons that pass through coal. So everything up to mindfulness was the plant. Mindfulness and concentration are the coal phase, but they in turn are the same substance with and produce number 7, which is upekkha. Interesting. We who know upekkha, we all have a friend at Berkeley Monastery named upekkha, so upekkha's face pops in mind, right? So she is the result of plants and carbon and coal, right? No. Mixing the metaphors, all mixed up. No. Upekkha, this state, is, and look at how the 7 limbs of enlightenment result. This is unexpected, and when I found this the first time and thought about it, it was really fun, because why? I expected Hui, wisdom, to be number 7, but it's not. It's wisdom's function. What is She in Chinese. You see the sh there? Sh means letting go. It means you set it down. You're beyond right and wrong. Both are okay. Neither one is better. Okay, Sure, Neng Sure. I don't cling to either side. Okay, that's the result of the stillness here. That's the diamond there. So I'm aware of all the options and I have no preferences except towards the wholesome and the life-giving and nurturing. To have no preferences doesn't mean, rape and murder is fine. No, it just means that your mind no longer pursues pleasure and runs from pain. That was this morning in meditation class, that came out strong, was how so much of our lives is in this balance, seeking a balance between pleasure, pain, and where do you draw the line? This headache, I can tolerate this headache. This headache is absolutely unbearable. I hate it. I gotta blast my headache with analgesic drugs. Where does pleasure become something we attach to? I can't let go of that pleasure. That's just too nice. Right? Gotta inhale it again, smoke it again, toke it again, drop it again. So all our lives is this back and forth, adjusting pleasure, pain, pursuing pleasure, running from pain. So much of our lives are spent there. And here's a state that you yourself, we ourselves, cultivate to where it's okay. The dualities don't move me anymore. That's equanimity. That's Sure. Right? Now, something else I want to point out is that the way it's described here, this is not the Bodhisattva's goal. This is how the Bodhisattva wakes others up. For this to be this Dharma is shared by the Theravada tradition as well. This is much more familiar with a Pali tradition where, in the Metta Sutta, is not born again into this world, right? They say the goal of the Metta Sutta is to be reborn in the Brahma heavens, where you don't come back. And arhatship, in other words. This is a similar phenomenon. But the Bodhisattva is bringing to perfection these wings of awakening to cross others over, to take others across. The Bodhi resolve arises from these. These are all sources of the Bodhi resolve, but they aren't the Bodhi resolve. Interesting, huh? So what a great list, right? These 7 dharmas are part of the Bodhisattva path in the Avatamsaka Sutra, and yet they are so familiar to people who cultivate the Theravada tradition as well. All right. He diligently practiced to perfect the Bodhi-share dharmas which have not yet been perfected. He makes the following reflection. He says, all that is conditioned, in other words, all things whatsoever, evolve through their coming together, through their connection. If there's no internal linkage, there's no progress. There's no growth. Growth comes from conditions coming together. There's no evolution without that happening. Since I know in this way how things grow, I know that all things that have conditions fall apart all the time, so I have to come up with a way that gets into the linkage, ignorance, conditions, activities, conditions, right? I have to get into that linkage and cut it. I have to cut those links so that the links stop tugging each other forward. Bodhisattva says, however, I'm not going to stop everything Because why? Then I would leave the state of living beings and I wouldn't be able to teach them anymore. Bodhisattva can put an end to this engine of the universe under the hood of the universe, the engine that's driving suffering and misery and pain, and he sees how to stop it, but he doesn't want to do it because that would make him Superwoman, Superman. Living beings couldn't relate. He wouldn't understand them. He's willing to endure their suffering to teach them what's going on. How interesting. So there's a whole lot going on here where he says, right, I see how the 12 links work and I can stop them and put an end to suffering, but I'm not going to do it because I want to wake other living beings up. So I'll stick around and suffer with them and teach as I can. There you go, by golly. And there's Ali the Kookaburra. So I'm back to our main screen here. Now, Ali the Kookaburra, since we brought him up, since you mentioned Ali the Kookaburra, since you asked, right? You mean nobody asked? Oh, well, maybe I brought him up. I guess so. Ali the Kookaburra has not paid even one call since I've been back. And Sam saw him the other day and was distressed at how skinny Ali looked. And yet his wife looked very plump. And what's going on is it's mating season. And she's about to lay eggs. And Ali is keeping the other birds away from her, even though he himself isn't eating. And so we're watching another phase of bird sociology. And we're convinced that as soon as eggs are hatching, Ali's going to be right there on the railing going, can I have a little more? Can I have a little bigger piece, please? I got to feed her too, and she's hungry. So we'll let you know as the summer progresses, the winter, where's our winter? Our winter progresses, whether our theory is correct. All right. Could you all please turn in your sutra text to the last page, Dedication to Merit, or I guess you have your song sheet there. And we'll try again. We'll see how our guitar sounds with our microphone. We have we're going to upgrade our mic next week to make sure that we can bring you all the different notes of the register, so it'll sound like something other than static. And that's cool. Say again, please. Thanks, YC. Yes, I actually I was in KL the night that Yuanlin flew back, and his auntie was also in touch and told me that she was rapidly declining and that Yuanlin made it in time to be there as she passed, which was quite a blessing because he had been there just briefly before and then had to come back to the States, but he did make it in time. So, and Jin Hosher and I had met Yuanlin's grandma just 2 months earlier, and very noble lady with a very full life and lots of grandchildren and lots of memories. So we had the privilege to meet her and talk with her and hear some of the stories of her life. But she did pass away peacefully, and so if anybody would care to transfer merit on her behalf, then I'm sure it would be welcome. Okay, here we go. as one and radiant with light. Share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, take their minds away to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow deeply grieve and pain. May this boundless light break the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. They all become compassionate and wise. They all become compassionate and wise. All right. See you all next week. Blessings. They say 师道之进. If it's the Tao, go forward. 知道非道之退. If it's not the Tao, retreat back. 在善而从. Select what's wholesome and follow it. 不善而改. If it's not good, change inside. See you all next week. 阿弥陀佛. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Oh, make it.